Hello, my name is Chad Isaacson, and today I will be discussing why Congress should pass H.R.12, aka the Women's Health Protection Act of 2025. So, I believe that the Congress should pass H.R.12 because of several reasons. First, the government shouldn't impede authority upon its citizens or individuals to dictate whether women should or shouldn't have abortions. I also believe that the government shouldn't supersede the opinions of doctors and healthcare specialists when they determine that a pregnancy should be ended or not. And I also find it absurd that the opposition claims that abortion is not healthcare when in fact abortion is in fact healthcare. So, as it stands right now, Congress has been trying for about 2 years to pass H.R. 12, the Women's Healthcare Protection Act of 2025, which, in simplest terms, it dictates whether a woman has the choice to continue or end a pregnancy, but it also includes the protection of healthcare providers and doctors of themselves if they were to perform an abortion, so they do not get prosecuted by the law, fined, become a felon, and go to jail. I feel this is justified because I believe it is ridiculous that the government, whether it be state or whatever type of government, I don't believe they should have the authority to impose themselves into an individual's life and be able to dictate whether they can or can't have an abortion or other healthcare opinions or operations of the sort. This is controversial because depending on your group, whether for religious or personal beliefs, many people do not believe that you should ever get abortions except for under specific circumstances. But I believe any woman should be able to get an abortion because it is healthcare and is not murder. That is my position, and for credibility, I just believe that the government shouldn't be able to do that, and I've done some research on the topic. For constructive argument one, I don't believe the government or any government, whether it be state or the Supreme Court, I don't believe any government should be able to impede their authority over an individual and dictate whether they can or can't have any healthcare services, whether that be an abortion. This was overturned in Roe versus Wade back in 2022 when the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade and decided that women's pregnancies were not protected under the 14th Amendment, basically meaning women no longer have access to privacy of a pregnancy. Thus, state governments can now dictate whether women can or can't get an abortion. Different states have different laws. In Idaho, we are anti-abortion, and I believe that should also be changed. But most importantly, I believe H.R. 12 should be passed at the federal level and be united across all of the states. Some solutions to this is that some things that H.R. 12 would provide solutions for is that women would be able to dictate what they want to do for themselves. They are allowed to continue or end pregnancies, and also healthcare providers and doctors will not be prosecuted or have their license revoked if this bill were to pass. My constructive argument too is that the government shouldn't have any sort of authority over a healthcare specialist or a doctor, meaning the government should not be able to dictate if an abortion is good or bad to have, and instead an individual should consult a doctor or a professional on whether they should continue a pregnancy or not. Some problems with the government doing this is that some states may, like Idaho, they can declare that it is bad for women to have abortions, and they may prosecute healthcare specialists or doctors. For Idaho specifically, if you are caught doing an unlawful abortion, you will be prosecuted and you can serve 2 to 5 years of imprisonment, a fine of no less than $2,500, or a fine no less than $1,000, and you will become a felon. I believe that should change. There are specific circumstances where you can get an abortion if the pregnancy was carried out through rape, incest, or if it puts the mother's life at risk. But other than that, the government says that you are not allowed to get an abortion. If we were to pass H.R. 12, some solutions it would provide for this is it would promote women's health. Once again, the healthcare specialists and doctors would no longer be prosecuted, and it would make healthcare more accessible. For my refutive argument, the opposition claims that abortions aren't healthcare or abortions is murder, but in fact, abortions is in fact healthcare. To attack the evidence, some people, I should say, may not be ready for pregnancy. Some may not be mentally stable, or they might not be financially stable. So carrying through that pregnancy would ruin their life, and that would be very bad. There is also a type of pregnancy called an ectopic pregnancy that happens in the fallopian tube of the womb where the fetus grows, and that can seriously damage a woman's reproductive organs, which can cause damage to it, which may lead to infertility or just overall damage to the pregnancy. And in some cases, it may even kill the woman. To reduce the opposition's claim to absurdity, I don't think a clump of cells or a fetus should be prioritized over a woman. Unsafe pregnancies should also not be finished, and a woman should just get an abortion and try again if they want to continue to try to have a kid. So they should just restart an unsafe pregnancy. But overall, a fetus should not have more rights and be prioritized over a mother, because a fetus needs a mother to live, but a mother does not need a fetus to live. So a woman should be allowed to get an abortion and just retry again. And then, just to summarize, the government should not be able to impede their authority upon an individual. They should not supersede the opinions of doctors. And the opposition claims that abortions aren't healthcare and it's murder, when in fact it is. Passing H.R. 12, aka the Women's Health and Protection Act of 2025, would promote healthcare for women. It would make healthcare options more accessible. It would also protect doctors from getting their license revoked, being prosecuted, fined, and potentially jailed. Thank you. Here are my notes.